Okay, so we have now connected via either Windows or Mac to a remote EC2 instance that we dialed up in the cloud. I want to speak briefly about what we're going to call our standard operating procedure, or rather our standard operating system, Ubuntu 12.04.2 LTS on a T1 micro instance. From this point forward, from the duration of the class, unless otherwise specified, we're going to assume that all those commands are executed on your remote AWS instance. That's to say, if I say ls or cd or cp or execute this command, that command, the implication is it should be on your AWS instance, not your local machine. If you are a sophisticated computer user, if you know Unix code, then you can run it on your local machine, but we won't support that mode of operation, mainly because local machines have all kinds of configuration issues, and this lets us get a homogeneous environment for everybody to be on the same playing field. And to give some sense of that, just take a look at this figure. So you can imagine many different students. One person is running OS X, one person is running Windows, one is running a Chromebook or something, even more exotic, and all of them can connect via SSH to their own T1 micro instance, which is a slice of a much larger computer. And all assignments from this point forward are assumed to be executed on an AWS instance unless explicitly stated otherwise. And so this smooths out OS and configuration inhomogeneity, and we can just assume that you're going to be running a T1 micro instance with Ubuntu 12.04.2 LTS unless otherwise specified. So that's really where all the assignments on the class will be relative to. And one of the awesome things about AWS is the reason this is so useful is that you can clone the environment here into another machine and then give access to that to your friend who can then collaborate with you. Whereas cloning all the materials on your local laptop and all their dependencies is much less trivial. So, when you actually connect, one thing that is useful also to keep in mind is when you're running commands on your local machine versus when you're running commands on a remote machine. So here, for example, these commands are being run on your local machine. After you hit SSH, you're now in a remote machine, and you can type hostname and echo and so on, and these are being executed remotely, in this case in a data center in Virginia. And then when you type exit, you're out, and now you're back on the local machine. So remember the distinction between remote and local execution, and remote execution is execution in the cloud. So you've now executed your first commands on a cloud computer.